Decoding the future of AI. Welcome to AI Perspective. The ground beneath the entire world of artificial intelligence is cracking. In the last few weeks, the fundamental rules of the game have been rewritten. A decentralized AI model, trained not in a billion-dollar data center, but by a global swarm of strangers, just outperformed the giants. NVIDIA just revealed its plan to become the landlord for all of AI. Apple was forced to admit that Siri is broken and is now in a frantic race to rebuild it from the ground up. And deep inside YouTube, an AI is learning to read your emotions just to sell you a better ad. From open-source rebellions to the desperate moves of trillion-dollar companies, this isn't just an update. It's a revolution. Here's everything you need to know about the chaos that just changed the future. First up, the story that has every distributed systems engineer and open-source advocate grinning from ear to ear. It's called Intellect 2. Imagine a powerful AI with a 32 billion parameter brain, capable of complex reasoning and coding. Now, imagine it wasn't trained by Google or Microsoft. Instead, it was trained by a permissionless global network of contributors, people with powerful computers, flung all across the globe, contributing their spare GPU cycles to build a collective intelligence. This isn't a fantasy. This is the work of a team called Prime Intellect. They looked at the insane cost and centralization of training massive models and decided to build a completely different way. Traditionally, training an AI is like a highly choreographed dance in one giant ballroom. Thousands of GPUs must all talk to each other at the same time, sharing what they've learned. These are called gradients. If one part of the system is slow, everyone waits. It's a huge communication bottleneck and costs a fortune. The team at Prime Intellect tore up that rulebook. Their framework, called PrimeRL, is built for the chaos of the real world. It splits the work into 3 independent jobs: generating new training data, actually training the model on that data, and broadcasting the newly updated model weights back out to the network. Their custom-built system, ShardCast, is the secret sauce. It pushes out the fresh AI model updates across a tree-style network. Think of it like a clever file-sharing system, where no single contributor has to wait for the slowest person in the group. This asynchronous setup means the network is always learning, always busy, with no wasted time. But this creates a huge problem. If anyone can join, how do you stop bad actors from poisoning the model with bad data or trying to cheat the system? This is where it gets brilliant. They invented something called Top Colossus. You can think of it as a decentralized watchdog. It uses a clever form of hashing to spot any data that looks tampered with or is of low quality. If a contributor is caught cheating, the system automatically and mercilessly slashes their stake on the blockchain. It's security and quality control, baked directly into the protocol. There's no central authority. The network polices itself. Inside the training itself, they made more clever tweaks. They refined a classic reinforcement learning recipe to prevent massive, sudden changes from derailing the entire training process. A huge risk when you're dealing with 32 billion parameters, where every tiny wobble can be amplified into a catastrophe. The model was fed a diet of 285,000 difficult math and coding problems. The reward was simple. A binary, yes, you solved it, plus a penalty for taking too long. This encourages the AI to not just be smart, but to be efficient. The results? On benchmarks for math and code, Intellect 2 actually edges past Qwen 1.5, a 32 billion parameter model from a tech giant. Let that sink in. A decentralized, crowdsourced AI, built on a fraction of the budget, is competing at the highest level. The team is honest about its limitations. The model's performance flattens out when it sees problems too different from its training data. Their next steps are clear. Get access to stronger base models to build upon, find even harder problems for the AI to solve, and even explore merging multiple decentralized models together to create an even more powerful intelligence. The entire stack, all the code, the models, the frameworks, is open source, available right now. This is a monumental shift. It proves that you don't need to be a hyperscaler to build a frontier model. You just need a better idea. Now, while the open-source world was busy decentralizing AI, the undisputed king of AI hardware, NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang, was on stage at Computex in Taipei. And he was there to show the world why NVIDIA still writes the rules. Instead of just talking about faster chips, he unveiled a strategy to build the very foundation of the next generation of AI infrastructure. The headline announcement is called DGX Cloud Leptin. Forget trying to buy or rent GPUs for months on end. Think of Leptin as the Airbnb or Uber for AI compute. It's a global marketplace that stitches together all the spare GPU capacity from providers all over the world into one giant planetary-scale AI factory. As a developer, you just pick a region, say how long you need the power, and Leptin handles everything else, the contracts, the scheduling, the pooling. It's a genius move. NVIDIA isn't just selling the shovels for the AI gold rush anymore. They're now becoming the landlord of the entire mining territory. The second bombshell was NVLink Fusion. This is essentially a design kit that allows anyone, cloud builders, other chip companies, to snap their own custom accelerators directly into NVIDIA's supercomputing fabric. We're talking about custom AI parts from Qualcomm, or high-performance ARM CPUs from Fujitsu, all plugging into NVIDIA's hardware like Lego bricks, sharing the same memory and ultra-fast connections. This is NVIDIA playing 4D chess. Instead of fighting competitors, they're inviting them into their ecosystem, making their own platform the undeniable industry standard. And it's not just about chips and clouds. NVIDIA is pushing hard into robotics. They rolled out Isaac GR00T N1.5, a new foundation model to be the high-level brain for humanoid robots, running on their upcoming Jetson Thor board. They even showcased a new trick called GR00T Dreams, where the AI can watch a single picture of a task, like grabbing a part, and then hallucinate entire training videos for itself to practice in a simulation before ever touching real hardware. This creates a data flywheel that could accelerate robot learning exponentially, and this is already creating real-world value. The manufacturing giant Pegatron revealed they are using NVIDIA's digital twin technology to cut the time it takes to build a new factory by 40% and have slashed defect rates on their assembly lines by 2/3. This isn't a slide deck. This is AI delivering massive ROI right now. NVIDIA's message was clear. Whether AI is centralized or decentralized, whether you're using their chips or someone else's, they plan to be the platform that runs it all. But while NVIDIA was building the future, Apple was in a desperate race to fix its past. A devastating report from Bloomberg's Mark Gurman has pulled back the curtain on a crisis inside the world's most valuable company. For years, users have known that Siri was falling behind. Now we know why. According to the report, Apple's own AI chief, John Giannandrea, was a deep skeptic of the chatbots that would eventually lead to ChatGPT. He simply didn't believe people wanted to have long conversations with their phones. Because of this, the company skimped on buying the expensive GPUs needed for large-scale model training, and instead tried to bolt on new, flashy features to Siri's ancient, rule-based architecture. Internally, engineers called it whack-a-mole. Every time they fixed one bug, 3 more would pop up. The system was fundamentally broken. After the botched and embarrassing rollout of their Apple Intelligence features, the company is finally hitting the reset button. They are rebuilding Siri from the absolute ground up, this time on top of a modern large language model built from scratch. The goal is to create a truly conversational assistant, one that can synthesize information from multiple sources and, for the first time, roam the open web for answers, much like Perplexity does, instead of being limited to a single unhelpful answer from Yelp. To do this, Apple is finally plowing billions of dollars into building the massive GPU farms it should have built years ago. But they face a monumental challenge. The dream is an LLM that runs entirely on your device, for privacy. The reality is that's still science fiction at the scale and power they need. The new Siri will have to be a hybrid, performing simple tasks like summarization on the iPhone itself while sending the heavy-lifting queries to the cloud. The timeline is insane, and the stakes are existential. Apple is betting it can pull this off in time for the next iPhone cycle and flip the entire narrative. They want to go from Apple missed the AI wave to Apple delivered private, secure AI, while everyone else streams your private prompts to their servers. It is a high-risk, high-reward gamble, born from a public failure. We've talked about new ways to train models, the hardware that runs them, and the race to put them in our pockets. But what about turning an AI's raw intelligence into a finished, complex project? What does true AI autonomy actually look like? That's where things get really interesting, and it's why we've partnered with Flowith for this part of the video. They've built a platform that directly answers this question. It's a fully visual, canvas-based environment where AI agents don't just answer prompts. They plan, they execute, and they finish complex tasks entirely on their own. Their new Neo agent is on another level. It's not a simple chatbot. It's a persistent 24/7 cloud-based worker that can handle projects with over 1,000 steps. It has an almost infinite context window to remember everything. And it can generate massive, complete outputs, from interactive websites and detailed research papers to entire automated social media campaigns. What's truly mind-blowing is that you can see it think. On the canvas, you watch in real time as the agent lays out its plan, researches steps, and executes them. And every single step is editable. You are the director of an autonomous AI workforce. Finally, let's bring it all home. How does this AI arms race affect you every single day? Well, YouTube just gave us a perfect and slightly unsettling example. They've decided that the ads you see in the middle of a video weren't quite annoying enough. So they're now testing a new system, powered by Gemini, called Peak Points. The idea is both simple and incredibly sophisticated. Gemini analyzes an entire video, every frame, every line of the transcript, to identify the exact moments when viewer engagement is at its absolute peak. Think about a shocking plot twist in a story, the climax of a marriage proposal, or an impossible move in a video game speedrun. The system flags that emotional high, and then, immediately after the peak has passed, it drops an ad. At a recent event, they showed a demo with a marriage proposal. The ring goes on the finger, the crowd cheers, the emotional wave crests. And as it fades, the ad rolls. YouTube's pitch is that this is better for everyone. You still see an ad, but it doesn't interrupt the climax of the moment. For brands, it's a goldmine. It's essentially emotion-based ad targeting. By catching you when your dopamine is spiking, the ad recall is theoretically much higher. For creators, this could mean higher ad rates without having to manually guess where to place their mid-rolls. Viewers, predictably, are split. Some find the timing less jarring, as it respects the narrative beat. Others feel it's emotionally manipulative, a system designed to capitalize on their genuine feelings. So let's step back. We have a renegade AI, trained by the internet, challenging the status quo. We have the undisputed hardware king, building a digital empire to rent to everyone else. We have a fallen giant, scrambling to reclaim its throne. And we have AI that can build a video game for you from scratch, or watch you, to sell you a product at the perfect moment. The very fabric of AI is being rewoven before our eyes. The question is no longer if AI will change everything, but who will be holding the threads? The decentralized crowd, the dominant corporation, or the autonomous code itself? Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. Should AI be allowed to target ads based on your emotions? It's a huge conversation, and I want to know where you stand. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to stay ahead of the curve on this crazy AI journey. It really helps the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.